Welcome to Empowered. I'm Elizabeth Naumovski. In a world where a tall poppy syndrome too often tries to cut down those who rise above, the question emerges, what if instead of trimming brilliance, we actually celebrated it? And what if women use that awareness not to stay small, but to uplift and support one another with intention, especially in the spaces where representation is hardest won in the male-dominated industries? And what does it mean to stand tall without apology? This is not about asking women to rise quietly. This is about rising loudly together, because every tall poppy deserves to grow in the full light of possibility. Today, I'm joined by Klaudia Zinaty. She's the CEO and founder of the Women Empowerment Awards and the Women Empowerment Foundation. Remember, empowerment begins within. Today, we're transforming confidence into impact. Now, Klaudia, welcome to Empowered. Before we begin, I'd like to mention that the Empowerment Awards are September the 26th, and my show, Empowered, is partnered with you, the Empowerment Awards. I'm excited to announce that the recipient of the Leadership Award will be a guest on a future episode of Empowered. So, Klaudia, thank you for helping me facilitate this. I'm super, super excited.
We are so honored to have you provide this to our award recipient. I know that they are going to be thrilled with the opportunity to be able to showcase themselves and their business or career on your show. So thank you so much for being a part of it.
Well, thank you for creating the awards. And I'm so happy that you and I talked together a while ago and decided to come up with this, because it's an excellent extension of the show and the women with all these wonderful leadership qualities that are on the show. Now, to begin, I'm going to go back to a negative, which is the tall poppy syndrome. Even though you and I like to uplift women, the tall poppy syndrome is the exact opposite. What exactly is it?
So the tall poppy syndrome is really like the imposter syndrome where, and it happens to a lot of individuals. They say about 70% of the population have that in some form of their life or career, but disproportionately it happens more with women than it does with men. And that's where women feel like they're not good enough, they're not worthy enough, they don't belong in that room. They are in a space and they feel that they're less than. And I think that a lot of that we have to do is change the mindset of that to actually be able to make them feel more confident and feel that they have value, that they are able to contribute to whatever space that they are in.
So many women struggle with self-doubt, even when they're qualified and capable. Now, how do you silence that negativity in your head?
So it's really not, you can't really silence it. So it's not really about silencing it, but it's more about changing the mindset of it. It's really about changing your mindset of knowing that you belong in that room, that there is a reason why you're there, that you have value and you're able to contribute to the conversation, or you're able to contribute to whatever the aspect of it, whether it's the research, whether it's the conference, but it's being able to find the confidence and the worth within yourself and being able to look at all of the women that are around you. What I do is whenever I'm in the Women Empowerment Awards in that space, I look around and I see all of these incredible women that are so accomplished and so successful. And so whenever I have that self-doubt, and we all have it at some point in our lives, it's really being able to remind ourselves of all of those amazing women that are surrounding us and using that as role models to remind ourselves that we are just as worthy to be in the same space as everyone else.
And you're right. We are worthy of being there. However, why do so many women still feel guilty for being ambitious? And how can we unapologetically claim our success without shrinking ourselves?
Well, a lot of the times we feel guilty because we're taking on so much responsibility. So we feel like if we're trying to do something, we're sacrificing something else. And I think that's where we need to really change the mindset of not making or believing that, that what we're doing is sacrificing or taking away, but what we're doing is actually contributing to the better good. So everything that we are doing, everything that we're accomplishing is actually to help our families, it's to help our community, it's to help uplift another woman and open doors for her. So I think when we start changing again that mindset of not feeling guilty, but knowing that what you're doing is actually with a purpose to be able to help others in some way, shape, or form, I think then we start to realize that, what we're doing is actually for the better good of our society and for other women by being able to provide role models for them and for the younger generation by leading by example.
And I love that because, the old saying, it takes a community, right? You surround yourself with incredible women and you all support and uplift each other. And the bottom line is you don't need to know everything. You need to know one
Yeah.
thing. Your other friend needs to know something else, and you'll never fail. Don't go away. We'll
It's
be right back with more of Klaudia Zinaty. Welcome back to Empowered. I'm Elizabeth Naumovski. Empowerment begins today within, and we are transforming confidence into impact. Klaudia, let's continue because this is a great conversation. Let's talk about money because money talk is often considered taboo. It's how, women approach it so differently, whether they're negotiating their worth, whether it's a salary, whether it's a business deal, or even a partnership. And I mean, like a personal partnership as well. We always underestimate ourselves and we always charge lower than men. So, what can we do to help us negotiate our worth?
Well, I mean, the first thing that you need to do is never take the first offer that they give you, because I think when you do that, you're really selling yourself short. Do your research. Take a look at what your, whether it's your career or whether it's your company, take a look at the value. Like, go on online, see what companies are valued at, see what job positions are valued at. Because when you go in there and you're prepared, then you're able to be able to negotiate on a fair playing field because you know what you're worth. And I think that's one of the biggest mistakes a lot of women do, is they go in there and they take whatever job offer that they're given without actually doing their due diligence of seeing what is the market value for my experience, my background, my knowledge, everything that I've done or accomplished. And I think that those are all very valuable aspects of your career that are worthy and should be taken into consideration when you are negotiating, any type of salary or bonus or commission. So I think that's really important, is do your due diligence. You yourself know your worth. Do not settle for any less, because if you do, you're not going to be happy, and you want to be able to make sure that you're confident as well. So by making sure that you do your research and know what the market value is for that position out there, you're able to come full forward with confidence and be able to negotiate in a very proper and fair manner.
So, Claudia, leadership from women often comes with labels like she's too much or she's too soft. How do we navigate these stereotypes while staying authentic?
I think when you take a look at people's comments, I really think, how much value do you hold to what other people think of you? A lot of these successful people in life, I follow so many different types of individuals and businesses, and all of them say, like, when you start listening to what other people think, you're never going to be able to achieve the things that you want to achieve because you're constantly hearing things in your ears. So, know yourself well. And I think once you know yourself and believe in yourself, there's no such thing as defining as too soft or too aggressive. If it was a man, no one would ever say that. They'd say, "Oh, he's ambitious," or, he's a good negotiator. But with women, it's always some type of critique. So let go of the critique. Don't listen to the critique. Know yourself and be able to have the confidence and worthiness within yourself. And that's why I say, like, empowerment starts within. And once you start to put the power within yourself and know who you are and know what you bring to the table, then all this kind of chit chatter from other people, it doesn't mean anything to you, because your focus is on yourself and your business or your career and where you want to go and the impact that you're making to other people. And that really is all that matters. So I think that's what leadership is to me, is really being able to be your true authentic self and own your own power, and not really listen to what anyone else has to say, because once you believe in yourself, then what anyone else says does not really matter.
But what do you say to a woman who actually doesn't believe in herself and she doesn't have those leadership qualities? She's still trying to form from within and just has that self doubt and always listens to that negativity that pulls her down. So, what do you say to that person?
What, for people that really struggle, I always say find a great mentor, because I feel like when you find a great mentor that can help you, whether it be a coach, whether it be, someone that is who you aspire to be in the area or field that you want to get into. Once you find yourself a mentor, you're able to kind of express that, and they can help guide you in those areas. That's why there's so many wonderful people that are like in leadership workshops or life coaches that can really help guide you along that way, because you do have to find it within yourself. And it's a lot of self love. It's a lot of being able to take a look at your own inner strengths and being able to list down all the great things that you do, because that's what it is. One of the things I find with so many women is that they can accomplish so many great things and they never take credit for all the great things that they
Yeah.
accomplish. But the minute one thing goes wrong, that's the one thing that they focus on. And I think that's where we need to change that mindset, to be like, well, what about all those other 10 things that you did that were wonderful? Why are you focusing on the one? So I think a lot of the times what we need to do is really be able to, within ourselves, to really focus on, well, wait a minute. Yes, that's the one
Hold
thing,
that
but
thought,
look.
Claudia. Sorry, we'll be right back. Welcome back to Empowered. I'm Elizabeth Naumovski. Empowerment begins within. Today, we're transforming confidence into impact. Claudia, so many people are afraid of failure, and especially young women, they get devastated when there's failure. To me, I think that, it builds upon your foundation for success, but failure is often seen as a weakness. So how can women refrain failure as fuel for growth and absolute resilience?
It really is working on the way that you perceive things. Like when you fail, it really doesn't mean that you didn't do something. It just means that it's a lesson. It's a way of growth. I think we all have to fail in order to grow. We all fail at some point in order to learn something from it. So instead of looking at it as a negative and as a victim of, oh, why did this happen to me? Or I don't know why this didn't work. It's a matter of understanding, well, what was the purpose of why? What was I supposed to learn from this experience? And I think we all go through something in our life where it may not have come out the way that we expected it to. And I think what we need to do in those types of situations is take a step back and be able to say, okay, what am I learning from this? What do I have to do better? How is it that I'm going to grow from this experience? So I think once we kind of reframe the way that we look at failure as it's an opportunity for growth and not as something that is a negative, then I think we can change the way that we move forward.
And I like that. I think it's all reframing and it's all your positive mindset instead of bringing yourself down with negativity. Speaking of,
Absolutely.
framework, networking, it's powerful, but so many women
Yes.
shy away from that self promotion. What's the difference between self promotion and arrogance?
Yes, arrogance is going into a room and thinking that you're better than everybody else. It's going in there, with that kind of attitude that you're better, you know more, and all that. But when you do self-promotion, it's really being able to introduce yourself and talk about what value you bring to the table. So what is it that you can contribute? What is it that you have in terms of skill set or knowledge or experience? So that's the difference between the two. One is more about an attitude and arrogance, and the other is really about being able to talk about what contribution or value that you're able to bring. And I think when you go with that, it's much more easier to be able to network across different types of platforms and opportunities, because you're being able to show what you're able to provide that other people may not.
So, many women experience competition instead of collaboration with other women. Clearly, you and I are collaborating, but there are some that will say, no, I don't want to have anything to do with Elizabeth or Claudia. How do we shift from rivalry to genuine sisterhood in business? Because that's very, very important for success.
Elizabeth, you got to come to our awards, because that's what it is. That's really the whole mission. Honestly, that's the whole mission of why I did Women Empowerment Awards, is really because it's about women empowering women. And it's about women being able to uplift other women, because when they rise, we all rise. And our mission statement is we rise by lifting others. So it's less about competition and more about collaboration. And that's what we really focus on, because when we are able to help others rise, we all win. And that's the difference, because a lot of people always say, again, we're talking about the tall poppy syndrome.
Yeah.
When you cut other people down, you think that you're rising higher, but you're not. By being able to uplift other women in your community, then what you're doing is you're opening the doors for so many and you're leading by example for so many. And I think that's really where we get that sisterhood. So if you ever come to our words, you'll see that everybody's cheering people that they don't even know at the table, and everyone's cheering everyone on. Everyone is just singing together and celebrating each other. And I think that's the beautiful thing about sisterhood, because if every single one of us could make just one thing, one impact to another woman, imagine the ripple effect that we could have in our society and the contributions that we'd be able to do. It would just be phenomenal. And that's what we're doing. It's really a movement of women empowering women. And we see the results just based on, year over year. It's tremendous to see the progress that we've done and the impact that we've done in our society.
And I love the fact that you're talking about the sisterhood. And yes, we do have to uplift each other. And this is why I came up with the concept of empowered, because I thought
Yes.
it was important to show these incredible leaders that we have in Canada and around the world. And it helps our our female future leaders, and it helps other women who are in a rut. So don't go away. We'll be right back with more. Welcome back to Empowered. I'm Elizabeth Naumovski. Today we're discussing the price of standing tall, breaking free from the tall poppy syndrome. I'm joined by Klaudia Zinaty. She's an entrepreneur and president and founder of the Women Empowerment Awards. Remember, empowerment begins within. We're transforming confidence into impact. Klaudia, we're at the very last segment. I've really been enjoying this. I want to talk to you about what role does mentorship play in breaking barriers? And how can women find or become mentors in their industries?
I think mentorship is so incredibly important. I think throughout your entire career, if you can find someone that you look up to, that you admire, that you respect, and being able to reach out to them, and it really just is an ask. I always tell people, if you never ask, the answer is always no.
Yeah.
So it's always really, it takes nothing to ask, and you have nothing to lose. So being able to reach out to people that you admire and respect and ask for, whether it's a 15-minute conversation, whether it's a 30-minute coffee, whatever it is, but being able to find someone at different points in your career path to help mentor you along the way is really critical. And, when you take a look at research shows that if you find yourself a mentor early on in your career, that women become even more successful throughout their lives, and they're able to stay on path. They're able to be able to do tremendous things, and that they give back to their community and become a mentor themselves. So it really is something that that it continues to move forward and be able to provide to others as well. So I think mentorship is really important, and you can find them anywhere. You can go on to LinkedIn. You can find them at different events that you go to. I was able to, in early in my career, find them through industry events, and be able to still keep in touch with them today. And there's a huge opportunity with the LinkedIn community to be able to do that. You can even do it through your social media platforms. If there's somebody, whether it be an influencer or somebody that you follow, reach out to them and see if there's an opportunity to have a conversation with them. And at the end of the day, these mentors don't mind giving a little bit of time of themselves in order to be able to help you move forward. So I think it's really important. And the other thing too is, if you're in a certain career path, so let's say you are in accounting, or in the legal, you're in the law industry, or if you are in research or medicine, being able to join those communities is really important, because you can find mentors within there as well. So that's what I would suggest, is anyone who's looking for mentorship, you can start small by doing introductions through different social media platforms, but you can also go to a lot of industry events and be able to just reach out to people and introduce yourself. And that's the other important aspect too, is that you have to make sure that you're able to go out there and introduce yourself, because it's one thing to be in a room, but it's another thing to be able to go up to someone and people remember you. If you go up to someone and you have a business card, or you have that interaction with them, they remember who you are. So it's really important to be able to do that as well. And I know a lot of women sometimes are shy, and they always say, "Well, Claudia, I'm not a social person. I can't do that. I get very shy in rooms." And I always say to them, start small, start with one
Yeah.
person, and that's all. And then maybe next time you can challenge yourself for two, and grow from there.
Okay, so last minute 30 in the show, and I really want to talk to you about this. How do we teach the next generation of girls to step into leadership earlier instead of waiting for permission or the right time?
Absolutely. Well, through our Women Empowerment Foundation, we actually have started that initiative. So we are building confidence with these young girls at a very, very early start. And what we've done every year is through our foundation, we actually invite 10 to 12 young girls to our awards, and we get them glammed up from head to toe. And we actually ask them, we get them to do a certain type of exercise where not only do they just come to attend and be surrounded by these amazing, 450 empowering women in a room, but they actually have to network as well. So we get them to do that during the awards because we want them to feel confident. We want them to be able to feel assured. And I think when you instill that at a very young age and you get them to show that representation matters, that their voice matters, and that their dreams matter and are necessary, then you're able to have a wonderful future generation of amazing, empowering young girls.
Claudia, thank you so much for coming on Empowered. I hope that your awards night are truly successful. I can just feel the passion in you, and I know that it's going to be an incredible, passionate, and fun evening. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me. It's been an honor. Thank you so much, Elizabeth.
Claudia's closing words of wisdom to you are: as women, the greatest service we can do is to help each other rise and support each other. When we collaborate, we build community. When we share, we spark possibility. When we inspire, we ignite change. When we empower, we create legacy. This is your reminder that success doesn't have to be a solo journey. We rise higher when we lift others with us. I'm Elizabeth Naumovski. I'm here to empower you and make frugality fashionable. Bye for now.